Republicans have been very kind to me from the beginning. Even from the beginning, when Bobby was running as a Democrat, they weren't mean.
No.
And they never have been.
No.
And I can't say that for the Democrats.
I agree.
And it's
sad because it's not the Democrats we grew up with.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the difference that people don't, I think, see. They're like, why did you turn on the Democrats? Well, first of all, I didn't. Like I said, we voted for the same person. But I'm not going to pretend I don't notice how different they are.
Yeah.
How mean they've become.
Yeah, he listened.
Yeah. I think he actually wants more people around him for a stimulating conversation.
Yeah.
I was very surprised at, and mentioned it again, they hated me for it, that as opposed to so many important people I've met who, when you talk to them, you don't feel like they're really listening. They're kind of like, you know what I mean? And then when they answer you, it doesn't quite track, you know?
They're just waiting for their turn to talk.
Yeah.
Bill Maher and Cheryl Hines just teamed up, and what they revealed has Democrats absolutely rattled. In a brutally honest and unexpectedly hilarious conversation, two once loyal Democrats broke down how their party has crumbled from the inside. While Donald Trump's popularity is skyrocketing, they openly admitted why the Democratic Party, once their political home, now feels broken, confused, and almost unrecognizable. This isn't just commentary, it's a warning siren. So, let's dive in.
Again, one good thing about Trump, he really, really does not like war.
Which I love that about him.
I kind of do, because I don't want war either, and most of them are unnecessary.
Agreed.
I mean, he took a long time when I had that dinner with him talking about the pictures he sees coming from Ukraine, the stuff that doesn't get out on the news. It's like raw footage of bodies in the field.
Yes.
And you could tell it really moved him.
He's
like, I do not want to see this, and I'm the kind of guy who can fix this.
Here's where things take a shocking turn. Watching Cheryl Hines and Bill Maher openly admit that there are actually things they appreciate about Donald Trump is something no one saw coming. These were the same voices once known for relentless Trump criticism, especially Maher, whose sharp commentary shaped years of anti-Trump discourse. But today, that familiar script has flipped. Maher's new, more reflective approach has drawn surprise supporters while alienating some of his oldest Democratic allies. Some say he's fed up with the party's chaos. Others insist Trump charmed him during their now famous private dinner. Whatever the reason, the shift is real, and it's shaking the political ground.
You know, he's never not going to be Trump. So, of course, he's like, I solved 9 wars. And, you know, okay, even if it's half that, it's still good that we're solving them and not starting them.
That's the thing that I find that I really like about President Trump when he talks about wars and talks about Ukraine. And he talks about Ukraine and Russia, and he will say they're losing people on both sides.
Donald Trump has repeatedly insisted he won't drag the U.S. into endless wars and has made ending the conflict in Ukraine a top priority. Whether people agree with him or not, his unconventional strategies seem to be shifting the global landscape. Trump wants the war to end, and Bill Maher pointed out how different this is from Biden's stagnant approach. Biden's years of attempted diplomacy never materialized into results, while Trump's pressure tactics appear to be moving things in a new direction. Love him or hate him, this is shaping up to be a major political win for Trump with global consequences.
What somebody was just asking me about when I met him, what surprised me the most, and I said I was surprised that he really likes to listen to people. He's very curious and what you have to say.
They hated when I said that. Again, because I'm just telling you what happened. What, should I lie?
I guess so. I guess
right.
That's
He
what
kicked me in the balls under the table, and then
I knew he would.
He threw the spaghetti against the wall when I raised the subject of tariffs. No. No.
You can already picture Democrats fuming at Bill Maher's recent comments about Donald Trump. For years, Maher was expected to follow the party script and unleash constant criticism. But the moment he admitted Trump was surprisingly likable in person, everything changed. Cheryl Hines backed that up with her own experience, reinforcing what many refused to admit. Supporters expected Maher to return from his meeting with Trump loaded with fresh insults. But instead, he came back with nuance. That alone triggered a meltdown. What this really exposes is the mindset of certain people. They dislike Trump not from personal experience, but because they were told to. Maher broke that cycle. He listened.
Yeah, he listened.
Yeah. I think he actually wants more people around him for stimulating conversation.
Yeah.
I was very surprised at, and mentioned it again, they hated me for it, that as opposed to so many important people I've met who, when you talk to them, you don't feel like they're really listening. They're kind of like, you know what I mean? And then when they answer you, it doesn't quite track, you know?
You're just waiting for their turn to talk.
Yeah.
This moment is both hilarious and eye-opening. Politicians always walk into interviews armed with rehearsed talking points, carefully memorized lines, and scripted narratives. Even if the interviewer asks something unexpected, they cling to the script with robotic dedication. You can literally see the disconnect. A genuine question, followed by a completely unrelated but on-message response. That's why this unscripted moment stands out even more. It exposes how deeply conditioned many politicians are and how refreshing it is when someone actually speaks like a real human being.
Or they're just on a different level. I mean, these are show people too. I've had that. But I didn't get that with him at all.
No.
I got a guy who looked in my eyes,
Yes.
was listening to what I said, waited until I finished, even when it was contradictory, when it was he never got blustery or mad about it. You know, he said some things that I don't agree with and some things that I think are just, you know, plainly not right, like, you know, third term. Yeah, I think you could do it. I'm having people look into it. No, you can't do it. And you can have people look into it from now until the end of time. It's like 12 words in the Constitution. You can't do it.
This also explains why Kamala Harris often delivered vague, broad responses instead of concrete answers. Even when a question required clarity, she slipped into long, polished, word salad sentences that sounded impressive, but said almost nothing. It felt like she wasn't listening to the question, just waiting for a chance to return to reheated talking points. That rigidity made her interviews feel disconnected, confusing, and robotic. Viewers noticed, because when politicians prioritize the script over genuine engagement, the truth becomes painfully obvious.
But he didn't get mad.
Right.
And then I also made the point that, you know, I went home that night and I was getting into bed in 60 Minutes. I taped it. And there he is on 60 Minutes and he's like ranting and raving. I'm like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
This is not the guy I met.
Yeah.
And so I'm just the reporter here. I'm just telling you.
This
you
was
know,
my experience.
Remember, these aren't casual observers. These are lifelong, hardcore Democrats who suddenly have something positive to say about Donald Trump. And that alone sends shockwaves through certain corners of the left. The unspoken rule has always been clear. Democrats must remain united in their hatred of Trump. No nuance allowed. So when figures like Bill Maher and Cheryl Hines break that pattern, it infuriates left-leaning media and party loyalists. It disrupts the narrative they've spent years building. The idea that a Democrat could appreciate anything about Trump feels like betrayal. And that says a lot about how rigid the expectations have become.
The Republicans have been very kind to me from the beginning. Even from the beginning when Bobby was running as a Democrat, they weren't mean.
No.
And they never have been.
No.
And I can't say that for the Democrats.
I agree.
And it's
sad because it's not the Democrats we grew up with.
right. Yeah.
And That's the difference that people don't, I think, see. They're like, why did you turn on the Democrats? Well, first of all, I didn't. Like I said, we voted for the same person. But I'm not going to pretend I don't notice how different they are.
Yeah.
How mean they.
For years, Republicans were framed as the mean, cold, uncompromising side of American politics. But Maher and Hines are flipping that narrative upside down. Their personal experiences reveal that Democrats can be just as harsh, if not harsher, especially toward anyone who steps even slightly out of line. Disagree with them, and they won't debate you. They'll try to destroy you. They'll label you, attack you, and cancel you. The message is simple. Agree completely or face consequences. By exposing this, Maher and Hines are saying aloud what many quietly feel. The Democrats aren't always the compassionate ones. They can be ruthless.
Democrats have been having a lot of donor retreats lately where liberal strategists hold ideathons, where they try to figure out why they keep losing elections. You know, apart from using words like ideathon. And now one idea that's getting a lot of attention is the Dems need to find their Joe Rogan, a liberal Joe Rogan, because that's why Kamala lost. Republicans have a podcast.
Bill Maher argues that the Democrats don't just need their own version of Joe Rogan. They need their own version of Donald Trump. Someone honest, bold, unapologetic, and unafraid to challenge the rising tide of woke politics. Someone who stands firm instead of bending to Twitter outrage. The Democratic Party is missing real backbone, a leader who can take criticism, own their imperfections, and refuse to be shaped by ideological pressure. Maher's point is simple. The party doesn't just need new voices, they need strong personalities who can challenge their own side when necessary.
Or you could consider this. Instead of conjuring up a new Joe Rogan, ask yourself why you lost the old one. Because he used to be on your side. He smokes pot on the air. I don't think he's that much of a far-right ideologue. I don't think his mind is completely inflexible. His neck, yes. But not his mind. And he's expressed unease with some things Trump is doing, as has a certain disgruntled former employee named Elon Musk, who, like Joe, is another guy who 5 years ago was thought of as a liberal, but got driven into the other camp by bad attitudes and bad ideas.
This is the same rigid thinking that has pushed people like Cheryl Hines and RFK Jr. away from the Democratic Party. Many longtime Democrats say they feel disconnected, not because of one issue, but because the party's direction no longer makes sense. It's become less about solutions and more about ideological purity. Anyone who questions the narrative gets punished. Yet even as supporters walk away, the party refuses to self-reflect or adjust. That stubbornness is what continues driving thoughtful voices out, because if a party can't evolve, its followers eventually look elsewhere. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.